Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you for viewing my video. In this video, I'll be talking about how I managed to travel from India to USA during the travel ban. So the travel ban was imposed from May 4th, 2021 as part of Presidential Proclamation 10199. I'll be talking about NIE, which is the National Interest Exemption, my NIE experience, about the COVID testing prior to the flight, about the actual journey, and a bit about the immigration that I went through in USA. So if this is something that you're looking for, then I'd suggest you wait till the end of the video. I hope to answer some of your questions. As many of you know, starting from May 4, 2021, USA has restricted travel of all non-citizens, those who were in India or were physically present in India 14 days prior to their entry into United States as part of Presidential Proclamation 10199. I will post a link to the entire proclamation in the description below for your reference. Having said that, there are exceptions to this restriction, and as part of one of the exception, one can apply for a National Interest Exemption or an NIE with the US consulate that granted their visa. NIE allows a non-citizen to enter the United States once on the basis of national interest. What this means is that if you are working directly in or are impacting any of the critical infrastructures as mentioned by the US government, then you have a good chance of getting this approved. The US authorities at the consulate will review the NI requests on a per case basis, and you will basically be granted permission or not based on your request. Each of the US consulate in India has their own email IDs to accept and process the NI requests. So you should only apply or request NIE with that consulate that stamped your visa. In the description below, I'll post the link for the FAQ of NIE. That link basically has all the email IDs of each US consulates in India. The link also has the format of the request which the consulate expects you to follow in the requests. Coming to my own NIE experience, on May 20th, 2021, I applied for the National Interest Exemption with the visa consulate that stamped my visa. With the request, I attached an employment verification letter and also gave complete reasoning as to why I need to work from USA rather than working from India. And on May 25th, 2021, I got my NIE approved from the same consulate. As soon as I received my approval for my NIE request, I immediately booked the return flights to United States for 30th May 2021 with the United Airlines. So my itinerary is Bangalore to Delhi, from Delhi directly to Newark, and then from Newark to Orlando. The flight from Bangalore to Delhi was operated by Air India, and the rest of the flights, that is from Delhi to Newark and then from Newark to Orlando, was operated by the United Airlines. Next, coming to COVID testing requirements, the United States requires all the international passengers entering the United States to be tested 3 days prior to the travel, and the test can either be antigen or molecular test. Now the 3 days requirement is not the same as 72 hours requirement, in the sense that if your flight is at let's say Friday 11 p.m. There's no requirement for you to get tested only after Tuesday 11 p.m. But you can get tested any time during the day during Tuesday, which falls under 3 days requirements. I took my RT-PCR test on 28th May 2021 for my journey on 30th May 2021. I had booked for a home collection appointment with Aster Labs. They arrived at my house at around 8:30 a.m., took the sample and gave me the receipt. The whole process took around 20 minutes. I basically got the result of the test the same night at around 10 p.m. So that's a pretty quick turnaround time. So for people in Bangalore who are looking for labs to get tested before travel, I'd recommend Aster Labs as I had a good experience with them. So once I received my negative COVID report, the next thing I did was I took printouts of the necessary documents. I took 3 copies each of the entire NIE request and approval mail chain and that of the negative COVID report. I also took copies of the flight ticket, the employment verification letter, and the last 4 pay stubs with my company just to prove my employment if needed at the immigration. On 30th May 2021, that is my travel date, I arrived at the airport 4 hours prior to my journey. I recommend you to arrive at least 4 hours prior to your journey just to be safe. At the airport, I went directly to the Air India counter to check in my bags. I presented my NIE approval email chain printout as well as my negative RT-PCR report. The Air India authorities basically took around 45 minutes to verify all my details as well as the NIE approval, and only once they verified all the details, they did provide me boarding passes from Bangalore to Delhi until Orlando. So yeah, all the more reason for you to arrive as early as possible because it will take time at the airport. Once they verified my details and gave me the boarding passes, I was able to check in my bags. Coming to baggage allowance, since my first flight is via Air India, even though I booked in United website, the entire itinerary's baggage allowance was as per Air India's policy. What this meant was that I was allowed to check in 2 bags up to 23 kgs each for free. So this basically saved me money in paying for my second baggage, which the United expects me to. So if you have a similar itinerary that is traveling from Bangalore to United States via United Airlines, then I'd suggest you opt for Air India United combination, as you'll get 2 check-in bags for free. Even though I got the boarding passes until Orlando, which is my final stop, I still had to get a fresh boarding pass at Delhi from the United's counter. I'll get to that later. Now coming to the flight, the Air India flight from Bangalore to Delhi, the flight operated at around 10% capacity, so it was almost empty. I landed Delhi way ahead of the schedule. As soon as I landed in Delhi, I first went to the United counter where they verified my NIE approval as well as the negative RT-PCR report. Once they verified that, they put a very tiny sticker at the back of my passport, after which I went to the check-in counter of United Airlines to get a fresh boarding pass. At the counter, they again asked for my NIE approval and negative RT-PCR report. They asked me to provide an address where I stay in the United States, and once they got all the information, they gave me the final boarding pass of United Airlines until Orlando. So they basically gave me 2 boarding passes of United Airlines. The next thing I did was got my exit stamping done on my passport at the Delhi immigration. Coming to the actual Delhi to Newark United flight, the flight operated at a bit more than 50% capacity. The flight was good, and since I'm a vegetarian, I was happy to get good vegetarian food as well. So the next step is Newark. Once I landed at Newark, the first thing was immigration. The officer asked a few basic questions about my visit to India as well as the kind of work I do. Once I answered these questions, the officer kept my passport with them and sent me to a secondary room. At the secondary room, the officers must have verified my NIE approval, and they again asked a few basic questions about my visit to India. Once I answered them, the officer basically stamped my passport and gave me back my passport. Once I received my stamped passport, the next thing I did was check out my bag. at Newark, since that's the first port of entry for my international journey. Once I checked out my bags, the next was to check it in again with one of the transfer belts. After that was the security check, and then basically went to the gate to board my Orlando flight. The flight from Newark to Orlando operated at 100% capacity. It was completely full. Once I landed at Orlando, I checked out my bags and exited the airport. So as you can see, it's a standard travel from India to United States. But now with the travel ban, there is an additional step if you have your NIE approval. That is, it takes some time at the check-in counters to verify your NIE approval, and also at the immigration there is a bit more scrutiny since you have your exemption from the travel. So if you have your documents sorted, that is the NIE approval, your employment verification letter, the last 4 pay stubs, and also your negative RT-PCR report. These were the documents that I basically carried, and these were all that was needed. I think you should be set. Also, one more thing about bag. Once I checked in my bag at Bangalore, I didn't do anything at the Delhi airport other than take a fresh boarding pass from the United counter. But I had to check out my bag at Newark and basically check it in through a transfer belt at Newark to Orlando. That's one thing with the baggage. This brings an end to my journey from India to United States, that is from Bangalore to Orlando, with the United Airlines as well as Air India during the travel ban. I hope I've answered some of your questions. If you have any questions that I haven't spoken about, please do post those questions in the comment section below. I'll try my best to answer it to the best of my knowledge. Thank you again for viewing my video. Please do consider subscribing to my channel, and have a good day. Stay safe. Bye.